appropriate training. Staff should receive appropriate training to be able to look after pupils with medical conditions and give medication as appropriate. So that training needs to be sufficient to give them the skills and the confidence to feel competent helping in them manage their medication and their condition and be able to help them in a medical emergency. All members of school staff should know what to do and respond accordingly when they're aware that a pupil with a medical condition needs help. So as well as specific training for those more directly involved in the pupil, ideally everyone should have training to ensure that they would be able to help if they came across the pupil having a medical emergency. Training should be sufficient to ensure that they are competent and have confidence in their ability to support the pupils with medical conditions. And it's important to note that you're not contractually obliged to give medication or supervise a pupil, and it's a voluntary activity. However, please ensure that you are trained up to do this anyway, because if you were to come across a pupil that needed help, it would be horrendous if you didn't know what to do. So some support staff may, as part of their contracts, have specific duties to provide medical assistance to pupils. So for teachers there's no contractual obligation, but for support staff they may be asked to help pupils. There also needs to be sufficient staff if taking pupils on school trips to ensure that whoever's going with the pupil with a medical condition is appropriately trained, and likewise if there's another pupil who is still at school, that there are enough people, sufficient people with appropriate training to support the needs of everyone, and that you also have enough people trained up to account for absence and cover for any other reason. Staff must not give prescription medicines or undertake healthcare procedures without appropriate training. So it is your responsibility, if you haven't had appropriate training, to ensure that you are not putting yourself at risk of being accused of negligence or assault in the case of if you were giving suppositories or an injection. So ensure that you are appropriately covered. You should ensure that the school has appropriate insurance and indemnity arrangements as well, and ensure that you've received appropriate training from a medically qualified or a professionally trained person. So although the parents may be able to offer some support in terms of explaining their child's medical condition, they should not be the sole people responsible for the training. And all new staff should have this training as well included in the induction. So it should be relevant training to ensure that the pupil in the school can fully participate in all aspects of school life. So I hope that's helpful. So just make sure you've received appropriate training, you've ensured the school has sufficient cover and indemnity cover, and that you are totally confident and competent in what you are being asked to do, when you might need to do it, and what you are supposed to do if the child you are caring for or who has a problem and has an emergency, a medical emergency, so that you really are confident being able to help.